It's a tragedy that has shocked the world. In a span of a year, more than 720,000, mostly Rohingya Muslims, have fled Myanmar's Rakhine state into Bangladesh, describing violent persecution by military forces there.
They chased our Rohingya people, shot and killed them, raped women, burnt houses, damaged mosques.
Tensions erupted in August last year when deadly attacks by Rohingya insurgents on security forces in Rakhine State were met with a government military response criticized by rights groups as heavy-handed and disproportionate. The Myanmar army denies responsibility, but a recent independent UN investigation found patterns of gross human rights violations committed against the ethnic minority group. The investigators want Myanmar's top military generals investigated and prosecuted for possible genocide, crimes against humanity, and war crimes.
And this shows how far these crimes have gone. And I don't think that anyone who's been following this closely is at all surprised that they found that there was potentially genocidal intent behind the removal of Rohingya from Rakhine State.
The findings and the recommendations are significant developments in a crisis that has seen the Myanmar government restricting access to UN investigators and a Security Council divided over what to do. Criticism has also fallen on China, with the US and some news reports suggesting that Beijing is shielding Myanmar from Security Council action.
As far as China is concerned, this is an internal political matter that needs to be dealt with through mediation. Now, the Chinese are actually working quietly behind the scenes to avoid Myanmar becoming a really explosive item on the Security Council agenda.
But Beijing's response is that the crisis needs to be handled delicately, given its complicated historical, ethnic and religious contexts.
Earlier on, Myanmar and Bangladesh made some positive progress on properly resolving the Rakhine issue through dialogues, thanks to the concerted efforts of all parties. Considering this, the international community should continue to play a constructive role in promoting dialogues and negotiations between Bangladesh and Myanmar to properly settle the issue. Unilateral criticism or pressure will not help solve the problem.
Still, foreign policy experts hope China can do more.
I think this is a crisis where it could have a huge impact. And I get a sense that China is torn. It's torn between traditional allegiances, concerns about meddling in the sovereignty of another state, and the fact that I think it's genuinely appalled by what it saw take place in Rakhine State last year. So I think China is absolutely in the position to be a responsible global citizen.
Without UN Security Council action, some countries have imposed unilateral sanctions on Myanmar and increased pressure on State Councillor Aung San Suu Kyi. There is also a push for the case to go to the International Criminal Court or an International Criminal Tribunal. Li Lingtan, CGTN at the United Nations in New York.